It's Murder the Internet with John and Rich. And I am pissed off today, Rich!
I noticed you came inside, you had blood coming out of your mouth, your nose,
My
your
whatever.
ears. Every hole in your body was drooling out blood like a kid on Christmas. And
Except for my anus, oddly enough, which is usually just...
blood was going up your anus.
Yeah, kind of like the slime. In
Yeah, it was like
Ghostbusters 2,
Australian bloodletting.
when it gets sucked back through the thing, yeah.
What? Yeah.
Ghostbusters 2. So here's what I'm mad about. Do you know who DeRay McKesson is?
No.
Well, he is a guy
Oh, I know him now.
who is a member of BLM. Big BLM guy.
Blim. What's Blim?
Well, some people think it stands for bacon, lettuce, mayonnaise.
I'm not one of those people.
You're not one of those
I think
people.
it stands for something real.
Okay, it stands for something else.
Okay.
No, that can't be it. It stands for Black Lives Matter.
Oh, yeah, they do. Okay.
Okay. Well, that's
All right.
it's good. We got that sorted out. So
Got a
he's
point.
He's mad because this Planet of the Apes movie.
I've heard of
came
that.
out,
That's the one with the apes
it's apparently
on the planet.
Apparently, doing just gangbuster at the box office this weekend.
That makes me mad.
Well, he's mad because he claims that one of the apes in Planet of the Apes was modeled on him.
Is he an ape?
No.
So
in
he's a
fact.
human.
Well, here's what he says.
Wait. Hold on. Planet of the Apes, correct me if I'm wrong here. Correct me if I'm not wrong. But Planet of the Apes is about apes fighting humans, right?
Yes.
So if there was something modeled after a human, it would probably be on the human side, correct?
Right.
Unless if the human was an ape, then it would be an ape.
Right, but he's not an ape, so that's
No.
why he's offended.
Yes,
that
because
they're-
apes can't get offended. That's it's
the
a
thing.
fun nature fact.
I don't know. Have you ever seen you ever tease a gorilla? You
Yeah,
know?
but that just infuriates them. That's different than being offended.
I think
You're
that-
not like
that's
saying,
their way of
"Hey,
saying-
hey, my God is the right God. The one that you believe in, totally off."
Yeah, your monkey god, nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this guy says on Twitter, given the history of rendering black people as apes, I'm offended and appalled by the lack of consciousness in Hollywood. # Planet of the Apes. And there's apparently an ape in the movie that has a blue vest. They also have those pop toys.
Funko, those pieces of shit things.
Pop toys, yeah, okay, I guess
That
you
take
don't-
all the soul out of everything and just regurgitate a gob of fucking melted junk plastic that nobody but the worst people on earth want.
How many of them do you have?
All of them.
So anyway, he's got the Funko Pop thing, and he claims that it's modeled on him because he also wears a blue vest.
Oh.
That's like his trademark is wearing a blue vest. So obviously, the producers in Hollywood said, hey, we work in Hollywood, the most notoriously sensitive place on earth to racial issues.
Isn't Hollywood
Let's
the place with
render
the liberals?
Yes, all of them.
Okay, yeah.
It's like a sinkhole for liberals. Yeah, we are in the most notoriously sensitive to racial things, but let's do this. Let's take a guy who's at the forefront of a racially divisive issue, like Black Lives Matter, and render him as a monkey in this movie, and it'll be funny.
Yeah.
I guess is the thinking that he's going into it with. He said, quote, DeRay McKesson says, quote, in associating black people with apes, active work is being done to perpetuate the dehumanization of black people in mass media. # Planet of the Apes.
Oh, this is a lot worse than I thought it was.
The problem with it is, and then a lot of people jumped on it, like Tariq Nasheed jumped on it.
Oh, God.
And said...
As a general rule, whatever Tariq Nasheed says, the opposite is true.
Tariq Nasheed.
An idiot.
Okay. He says, does the new Planet of the Apes poster have racially coded messages?
He's like Armand White of Black Lives Matter.
# Black Lives Matter, symbolism, notice the ape with the blue vest, etc., etc. But then people pointed out to him that in the original Planet of the Apes, there was a character who wore, get this, a blue fucking vest, who was also an ape.
Huh.
And they said it's just a throwback to that, you moron. And DeRay McKesson apparently deleted the tweet
Oh, man.
after that.
It's almost as if he was wrong.
Yeah, but he wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't.
To be offended, because here's the thing about the internet.
Yeah.
You're never wrong to be offended.
You're never wrong on the internet.
You're
That's
never-
everybody else is wrong. You, personally, never wrong.
Me personally, yes.
Yes.
Unless I'm arguing with you, and then you'll think I'm wrong. But
I
I'm
know
not-
you're wrong.
I know you're wrong.
Well, you can, okay, in, what was the guy's name?
DeRay
again?
McKesson.
Yeah, in his defense, okay, there was an ape wearing a vest.
Yeah.
How do you tell if an ape is black or white?
Well, those
You do
gorillas
not.
in the Congo in the movie Congo.
Yeah.
They were white. So I guess
Those are albino.
Yeah.
That's different. That's
Yeah,
totally
okay,
different.
well, those are the white ones. You just said, how can you tell if they're black or white?
White people do not equal albinos, and I'm offended by that. That is bullshit.
See?
You're lumping us
and
all
now
together.
You're all offended, and I'm upset that you're offended at me. And this is how free speech works.
Free speech means everybody's unhappy all the time.
No, free speech means that I get to say what I want. You shut the fuck up.
Are you done?
Now I am.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is that blue vest was not made by apes for apes. That blue vest was taken from humans, and the ape decided to, fit himself and say, "Oh, this is a lovely blue."
So you say that ape has appropriated a
Exactly.
human. You're right.
White culture.
White culture.
And
well,
then by
not white,
taking
human
that,
culture.
no. And then by taking the white culture and associating it with the black man, he should be offended by that, saying, "Oh, so all black culture comes from white men's puffy vests." Is that how it works?
I'm offended that you think it's white culture when it should be human culture, not white culture, because I'm white and I've never worn a blue motherfucking vest.
I've worn them all the time. I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah, you are.
So
You're wearing
don't you tell me what.
We're like 3 of them.
One of these is actually a floaty.
Okay.
Because I thought it was supposed to rain today. Did not want to drown. I can't swim. So I've got the little floaty thing around. There's a ducky on the other side. And if you squeeze the bill, it goes.
Okay, now I'm offended by what you think the sound a duck makes should be.
It's not a real duck, asshole.
Yeah, well then
This is inflatable.
So now I'm offended that the makers of the duck thing think that that's what a duck sounds like.
I'm
a duck
offended.
sounds like this. That's what a duck sounds like.
That's actually an enraged retarded boy, and I do not swim with those.
You don't?
And I am offended that you
They make
kind
great
of
flotation devices.
assume that I swim with retarded children, fat screaming men. No, I don't.
See, now
I'm the only fat screaming man in the pool at any time.
See, now I'm offended by the idea that I can't swim with retarded children, despite the fact that I love retarded children. Some people say a little too much.
Yeah, some people say that you are the original retarded children.
Yeah, that's
That's
several of them.
Everybody.
I'm all. Anyway, but let's get back to the
was it?
matter that we were talking about. You don't know what sound a duck makes, and that pisses me off.
I do know the sound a duck makes. It's a different sound than what my flotation device makes.
And
what?
what sound does it make? What's that sound? That's a duck sound.
That's a duck
Oh
sound.
my god. That sounds like a duck imitating another duck cruelly. That's what
No.
that sounds like.
No.
That's what that sounds like.
Let's hear
That's
your
what that
fucking
sounds
duck
like.
sound.
That's
Come
like that's like a duck like mocking the accent of another
Yeah,
duck.
okay.
Because that's a way for one duck to keep another duck down. Like mallards to keep whatever the other kind
Mallard
of duck.
Fillmore, very
Yeah.
funny
Oh,
comic
hilarious
strip.
comic strip.
He's got those government fat cats numbers
Though
multiple
it does
times.
offend me constantly.
That's what humor does. It makes me
supposed to
angry.
offend.
I
Yeah,
wish it
that's
would
how
just
I
go
know
away.
the only way I know something is funny is if it's offended me.
And then I don't laugh.
Yeah,
'cause I'm
so
too
one
angry.
duck going is making fun of another duck's culture.
What was that?
That'd be no different than you going, "Oi, mate," because that's like how people in France talk, and you
Yeah.
think that that's how people in France talk.
France real?
It's
I've never been there. Is it like real?
if you've never been there, how do you know it's real?
I don't know. That's why I'm fucking asking you.
Mandela effect.
The butterfly effect?
That's what it is.
He laid down in a pool, like a bathtub of cold ice cubes, and then
No.
he went to a bar and they gave him a buttery nipple.
No, Nelson Mandela
Who?
was the president
Of France.
of France. Right. That's why it's called the Mandela effect, because people are like, no, he didn't really exist, and neither does France. There you go.
So what, huh?
Okay, look.
Steer me back to what we were talking
The
about.
point
again.
of the internet is to be offended.
Yes.
Here's a list of things that you can be offended by if you're on the internet at any given time. Ducks. The sound ducks make. The sound that people think ducks make.
Wait, I see a pattern here. These are all things that offend you.
Yes.
All right, well, let me tell you something that I'm honestly really, it gets a bug in my craw. so to speak.
Here we go.
The SWJs. Man, I cannot stand them.
The Star Wars
They're-
Jews?
No, not
Who
Star
are-
Wars Jews. Shut up. Okay, the SWJs are always saying, oh, well, we have to have diversity and representation in video games. If there's a Chewbacca, then there has to be an ableist, cisgendered, binary, fluid Chewbacca.
What does SWJ stand for?
I don't know.
You got this
okay,
wrong.
I don't
It's
know. I'm not
what
one of them. I don't know. And I have heroes like Ian Miles Cheong, who sits in a gamer chair with the greatest of ease,
And-
his plump fingers grabbing the controller as he pulls off all sorts of crazy ass moves and tricks. He's got all the moves, and then he tells us from heatstreet.com what we should think about genders.
Okay. And what should we think about genders?
I don't know. I don't like him either.
Okay,
he
so-
makes me upset.
Why does he make you upset?
Because I believe that Anita Sarkeesian, the woman who was harassed and then
Yes.
she went to the UN. Wait, was that her?
I don't know.
Okay. I think I need to go back and read more.
Okay.
on this.
Yeah, this kind of feels like a book where you keep reading the same sentence over and over again. You can't really.
I haven't read a book in years, so I
So
can't
what does
relate to that.
SWJ stand for?
I don't know. I told you I don't know.
Okay. Well,
But they're bad is what I know.
what I'm offended by is SJWs,
What's that?
which stands for Social Justice White Walkers from Game of Thrones.
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
You should. It's a pretty good show.
My wife tried to get me to watch it. When I found out there was 70 episodes, I said, thanks, but no
too many.
thanks.
Yeah. What is your limit for how many episodes a show should have? For me, it's
None.
3.
None.
That's why I only watch Fox sitcoms from 1993.
You watch like Married with Children?
Putting on the Ritz.
Married with
Matthew
Children, that
LeBlanc.
really put a bug in my craw, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, what offended you about Married with Children?
Oh, all of it. You know, they're trying to say that this is the typical American family and this is our traditional values.
fuck
No,
that.
no, we're not like that. Some of us live by the Bible. Some of us aren't just complete ignorant nihilists. You know, we believe in things like eating oats. You know, we believe in things like carpooling. We
Yeah.
believe in things like colloidal silver, for example.
How many times on that show did they just sit around eating fucking barley and be like, "Oh, we don't like oats"?
That's why I stopped watching it. I don't know. I can't
It was
answer that question.
ridiculous.
You
It
can
was
like go to
ridiculous. They would
IMDb and
take
search
breaks just to mock the fact that they don't eat oats on that show.
Hey, pig, barley, huh?
You know what bothered me the most about that show
No.
is the fact that the wife was tall.
You're right. She was.
She was really tall.
Uh-huh.
And women should not be tall. If it was up to me,
My wife's tall.
your wife's tall, and it bothers me.
I'll tell her that.
Yeah,
I'll see.
tell her.
I'll see if I can do something about that just for you.
Tell her I want
Give a hacksaw.
Cotton Hill type of
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
You just cut them off at the shins, and then you glue her feet to her knees, and then she can walk around like that, talking about how she's killed 50 men.
How about if I get a truck, I get a lever and pulley, I hook her to it and slowly lower her into a pool of acid.
Okay.
And when the acid eats up like to her knees, then I pick her back up and then I just glue shoes to her knees.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
that's fine.
You know,
that's
actually
that's a lot
going to
better.
town
Yeah.
chopping on it with like a machete and stuff
Right.
like that.
Too much work.
That's actually technically a crime, but if you slowly
acid isn't a
lower
crime?
if you slowly lower a woman into acid, if you
Yeah.
do it at the right speed and not too fast,
Pretty
you can
sure
get no.
that's a
I've
crime.
been doing this my whole life. My hobby is lowering women into acid.
You know what offends me is when people tell me that things aren't crimes.
Yeah.
Like skateboarding is not a crime.
anime.
Or anime is not a crime.
Or murder.
Or murder is not a crime.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of hearing about all these things that aren't crimes.
Yeah, just tell me what
don't-
is a crime?
I just want to know about the things that are crimes so I might not commit them in the future.
Like crimes are so complex these days. How are you supposed to keep up with what is and is not a crime?
Well, Law and Order used to help you with that. And then
Yeah.
they took it off the fucking air.
and a lot of them died too.
Yeah, almost everybody.
It gets more difficult to teach people lessons when those people are dead.
Yeah, the detectives just keep dying, and not to mention the people on the show.
Yeah, and now with the invention of the internet, how can I get somebody to tell me all the rules I have to follow when I'm online? I can't be expected to memorize all those.
Okay.
Like, is it okay to call somebody a fag? If somebody
No.
calls me a fag,
Yes.
do I call it cyber cops? What do I do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we should make a list of rules for the internet.
Okay.
So let's
Okay,
do that
I'm
right
fine
now.
with that. Okay.
And you guys at home help us out.
Yeah, we won't be listening
Yeah,
or reading because this is just one way
Fuck
street
that.
of information.
Yeah.
I think
Rule number 1.
Wait, are these rules?
Just general rules for the internet so you know you're not fucking it up.
Okay. Rule number 1, if you see somebody being a faggot,
Mm-hmm.
please call them a faggot because otherwise how would they know?
How are they going to know? They're going to
Exactly.
look in the mirror every day and be like,
Yeah, they're
"I
probably
don't
just
know
posting
if I
just
am."
like, hey, here I am on the internet not being a faggot. And then somebody
Mm-hmm.
says, hey, fuck you, faggot. And they're like, oh, shit, I was doing it all wrong
I
the entire
remember now.
time.
I remember.
Thank you, Goku Hitler Crusher 420. Oh. Do you have any rules?
My number 1 rule is always read the comments. That is the best rule for
That
me.
is
In
good.
fact, don't even pay attention to the content.
Yeah.
Just read the comments because if it's good, the people in the comments will definitely tell you whether it's good. And the greatest thing about it on like news sites is if you read the comments on the news sites, then you don't even have to come up with your own opinion about the story.
wow.
You can read the story, then read the comments and go, what that guy said, I'm going to say, and people are going to think I'm smart. that guy must be smart because it was the top voted comment here on this website, pussyblowing.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing about that is you can apply that to, like for example, Reddit. If you see a thread in Reddit, don't read the first post. Scroll down, don't read any of the posts after that, and then just don't read Reddit and go to a different site.
Yes. All right. More rules. Rule number 3.
Rule number 3 is you should use racist terms as much as possible because that way you can just say, triggered by a word? Well, words don't have any meaning unless if you assign it to them. And then you could be like, they'd be like, oh, whoa, man, I never thought that being called a nigger was bad, but you're actually saying that it shouldn't affect me? Yeah. I'm not affected by it anymore. And you freed one person from the bonds and the chains of slavery.
From a word that's held people down for like hundreds of years. Thank God that somebody used that word on the internet so that now that person isn't affected by it anymore.
Yeah, and plus there's also another argument that that catches too by saying, hey, listen, black people call each other niggers all the time. Why can't I?
Right, and just because I'm not a black guy.
Yeah, and then the black person will be like, boy, you know what? That is totally unfair.
That's true. They'll just accept that.
Yeah. And then
well they should, because that word was not used by white people to keep black people down. No. It was just an identifier. Just like, hey, look at that one over there.
They just attached letters to vowels to consonants, and they came up with this smorgasbord of letters and vowels. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I don't want to say it was us, but it was the black people who decided that being called nigger was bad. Jeez.
Christ.
Okay, what's your rule?
That's pretty racist.
It's very racist.
It's very racist.
And that's why I'm helping people.
I'm glad that you're here to help people.
Yeah.
Are we back to me and my rules?
Yeah.
Always take multivitamins.
That on the internet?
But you can buy them on the internet. But they're so great because you get like A,
Wait. No. These are internet rules, though.
Right. I'm just saying, if you take your multivitamins that you buy off the internet, you
can't do that on the internet.
You get vitamin B.
How do you eat vitamins on the internet?
You get some D. If there's a vitamin E, you probably get it on the internet.
How do you eat vitamins on the internet, jackass?
You buy them from the internet, and then the internet sends them to you because the internet's nice, especially if you have your dad's credit card.
That is not an internet rule.
It's my internet rule.
Okay. Well,
is that it? Is that all the 4 internet rules?
No, I've got tons more.
All right, let's do it. Number 5.
Here's the thing. When you have a chance, and you always have a chance, argue. Because by arguing, it doesn't matter how pedantic you are. Okay, somebody could say like, the color white is white. Then you say, well, actually, and then that just opens up a world of possibilities.
Oh boy. Yep.
There are millions of shades of white. There's off-white, there's pearl white, there's blah, 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 blah. So you can't simply say white is white.
Not anymore.
Yeah, just like, okay, the number 5 equals 5. Well, actually,
there's
4.9 repeating 9 forever.
5, right.
Yeah, and there's
you
5
break it down.
5 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 1. The same as 5.
That's pretty good.
And people love it when you argue with them just about the most banal things.
I hate it
when
people
you use the internet wrong, you're an idiot.
Well, fuck you. I hate it when people argue with me.
Why?
I hate arguing with people.
You don't. You love it.
No, I don't. How dare you?
You fucking love it when people argue with you.
It makes me feel bad inside.
Why are you putting your hand in your pants right now if it really bothers you?
Because that's how I show displeasure.
Okay, yeah, well, why don't you go squeeze it on the floor and little men can peer from it and dancing.
That was on the last one.
Whatever. Maybe I'll put this out of order.
Okay.
Fuck you.
Maybe you should chop it up like fucking for the benefit of Mr. Kite. You can chop it all up. People are like, what is this? The benefit of Mr. Kite in podcast form?
Yeah, Mr. Kite. Greg Kite.
He got an amazing kite.
Greg Kite was the center for the Magic, and then this guy called, perhaps you've heard of him, Shaquille O'Neal came into the league. And despite Greg Kite having a 1.2 points per game average, Shaquille O'Neal took his place.
Which brings me to my next rule. Anything that you think and you've expressed on the internet means that you're right. If you can express it on the internet, you are right. For instance, if you truly believe that Sinbad was in a movie called Kazam, then guess what? You're right. Even though it was Shaquille O'Neal. Doesn't matter. You're right because you put that on the internet. If you honestly think that the Berenstain Bears was spelled differently when you were a kid than it's spelled now, guess what? You're right.
Does this tie in with fake news?
This is... I was hoping you're going to bring up that for your next rule, but yes.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, because the fake news is, if somebody thinks something different than you, it's fake news.
That's how it works, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody has factually valid research points from like 15 different news organizations. That doesn't mean
I
shit.
get so mad when people bring facts to my argument.
And I know this from working in the media. We collude with everybody.
I saw you colluding last weekend.
Yeah, you saw
with that horse and the trainer. It was disgusting.
That was Anderson Cooper.
Oh.
But yeah, so yeah, we got together and we were like, hey, how are we going to fool him this week? Yeah. And we did. We came up with this bullshit story about Donald Trump Jr.'s emails and all sorts of stuff. It's great. So fake news is so real, especially if you disagree with it.
My other thing I love on the internet.
Okay.
I like to fuck weird things. Some people may call it disgusting, but I not only like to fuck them, but I also like to take pictures of them and share. And if people don't like it, then I claim that they are Hitler and I claim that they are closed-minded and they are not accepting me for who I am.
And that's what they're doing.
Just because I take my dick and place it in areas that most people wouldn't say is, hygienically clean.
Just because you like to fuck dumpsters. Let's just call it what it is. You like to drill holes in dumpsters and fuck the dumpster
I call it the glory hole of trash.
Right.
Which is also the original name of somethingawful.com, the glory hole of trash. But I get off to it, Yeah. Is that anybody's business?
And who are you hurting other than maybe the homeless guy who's living in the dumpster?
I am hurting my own dick.
And you're yourself bleeding.
But that's
because you need to drill that hole a little bit bigger.
It's serrated. Yeah. The metal is serrated.
It's bad, yeah.
Yeah. The pain helps me know I'm alive when I'm fucking a dumpster. Yeah. The thing is, people are, they judge me. And I say, don't judge me. And they judge me.
Can't believe these people.
They say the thing that you're doing is gross. I say, you know what? If you think the thing that you're doing, marrying a woman and having sex and producing these stupid little spawn is attractive, well, I got a dumpster with sexier hips than your wife. Yeah. I say that.
And a bluer lid.
I don't type it. Yeah, I blew her lid. I don't type it, so they don't really get the message. But yeah, I mean, I have to be accepted by everyone.
You have to be. Yeah. All right, that's our list of rules for the internet. Now let's just talk about things on the internet that we've seen people fuck. So dumpsters.
I saw a Tails plushie covered in shit in a bathroom.
Yeah.
Which was, I'm assuming, fucked at some point before he covered it with his own feces.
His own feces?
Yeah, and it was like, trying to think of how to describe the consistency of the feces. It wasn't diarrhea. It was more solid than that. It was like a thick chocolate pudding.
My goodness.
Had splattered all over it like with a shotgun, and the shells are full of
just all over the place.
Pudding with more flour in it. Yeah. So he did his thing, and then he just unloaded his bowels, unloaded his jowls, unloaded his dick, all over Tails.
Wow.
Tails is hot.
I've never been so sexually attracted to something that I needed to poop on it. Is that a failing in myself? I mean, is that like a low T issue?
It's a low BM issue.
Low BM?
Yeah, but we don't know that he was shat on out of ecstasy.
Like maybe the guy just thought it was a toilet.
Well, okay. The logistics here are very interesting, okay? Because you would think that if he's sexually attracted to Tails, Tails would be in front of him, right?
Right, yeah.
So he's doing his thing, producing the goo.
Yeah.
And somehow his rear side explodes and he would have to turn around very quick. No, he couldn't even turn around because Tails was sat on the toilet.
Yeah.
And the spray was all over Tails and the toilet and the back wall and stuff. So there must have been more to this than I initially thought. Wow. Let's think about this for a while.
And things I've seen get fucked on the internet is actually pictures of the Tails with poop all over it. People like to print things out and then jerk off on them. And that was one of them that I saw. And I can't get that out of my head. Because it's so much worse if you see somebody else's goo all over it.
Yeah, it is.
So much worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't like to see my semen. You know?
Not me.
Like, if I were to ejaculate somewhere, it'd be under a magician's table with a cloth. He'd be like doing tricks, or a fortune teller, and she'd be like messing around with the ball. I'm just trying to get off there.
Messing around with what ball? What are you talking about, dude? Bump it. Come on.
I'm not fucking touching your hand. No.
Bump it, dude.
No, fuck off.
Bump it, dude.
Fine.
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't a bump. That was a slap. Oh,
I'm slap happy,
dude. I'm talking about balls. Man.
I know you were talking about balls. Jesus Christ. Talking fortune tellers, you're talking about naughty parts.
Here's the thing that I want to know.
Yes.
Have you ever seen two people who were in love have sex on the internet?
How can you tell?
Well, they like are looking at each other in a loving way, or maybe they're wearing
what if they're actors?
Wedding rings, or
I've seen somebody with a wedding ring.
You've seen somebody with a wedding ring?
Yeah.
But
prolapse anus.
Is that what you call a wedding ring? Is a prolapsed anus?
He had the wedding ring to make his anus prolapsed, sir.
Yeah. All right. Well, that takes care of everything I've seen fucked on the internet.
That's all?
That's it. I don't.
I saw somebody fuck fish bones. Like all the meat was gone and he was sticking his dick in the fish's skull mouth.
Yeah.
Seen people fuck watermelons.
Well, yeah.
And one of them.
I actually did see a guy masturbate while looking at a strawberry.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The most disturbing part about the guy fucking the watermelon is not the fact that he's fucking watermelon. It says dick was all bendy. It was like it went up. Like a shower fixture or something.
Now, if you watch that and get off to it, are you attracted to guys, to watermelons, or just the idea of watermelons getting fucked?
Maybe you just want to see fruit get what's coming to it. It's just dessert, so to speak.
Right. I get it, because it's
I know.
nature's candy. Mm-hmm. It's like a dessert ranch.
Yeah.
It's like a dessert.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cream on top.
Yep.
What else have I seen? I've seen a drawing of Crow T-Robot getting lubed up.
No, I don't want to. No.
Okay.
No.
Different strokes for people stroking differently.
Too far. If it was Tom Servo, then fuck, I'd be all over that.
No, it wasn't him. He's got his little arms are too small.
Yeah, he can't really do much with that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will get images of Tom Servo masturbating.
Yay!
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I can't wait to see those.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Good. With their springy arms, so they can stretch.
I saw one of a giant boy fucking an entire house. Like his dick is going in the window, and he's got this look on his face like he's really determined to impregnate this house.
He's a boy?
Yeah, it's a giant boy.
How do you know he's
or
a
a teenager,
boy?
whatever.
Okay, all right.
It's kind of anime-ish, so I don't know what the name, what the age is.
Now you have me confused. Is the boy a literal giant, like he's 50 feet tall, or is giant boy just your term for any teenage male? Or you just see any teenage male, and you're like, oh, look at that giant boy.
Yes, and I'm a giant boy.
I'm a double giant boy.
Yeah, I fuck condos. No, it's just a giant boy fucking a house.
Fucking a house.
In glorious Nippon.
Okay.
What else is there? I saw a guy fucking a turkey, but that's
come on.
Yeah.
That's Thanksgiving. What else are you going to do?
And I'm not going to get into the whole furry thing because furries are pretty much the new normal on the internet. I've got nothing against furries.
The furries are great.
Yeah, I mean, like do bronies still exist? They were really popular for a while.
They were, and I think the show's kind of lost popularity, so I don't know.
Is it still on?
I worked on a show back in St. Louis that was getting death threats from bronies, though.
Why?
Because Fox 2, the Fox station there in St. Louis, played a thing about bronies, and they were making fun of them, and we just played it on the show. We didn't even really make fun of it. We were just like, oh, okay, bronies, that's the thing, whatever, and just moved on. And because we played it, we got like write-ups on brony boards like, this Fox News show, these conservatards are attacking us, and they started sending us death threats. And I was just like, okay, look, I don't want to die, but if I gotta die, I kind of want to be killed by bronies.
Yeah.
I kind of want that to be the way I go. Because I at least want my death to be ridiculous enough that it's not tragic.
I want to die in the toilet. Like
okay,
Elvis.
so that's another internet thing we could talk about.
What?
How many ways do you want to die?
How many ways do I want to die? I don't want to die in anything internet related.
No. Like how many ways, if we posted this to the internet, how many ways would you die? Yeah.
Well,
let's if you made up a list of ways you want to die and then posted it to the internet, then it would be on the internet.
I want to die from a heart attack, doing drugs, on the toilet. And when I die, I want my children to put my body in a dumpster and light it on fire and push it down a hill. And that's the end of that.
Because you like to fuck dumpsters.
No. Well, yeah, but it's not.
Now, would it be a dumpster that you fucked?
No, it'd be a virgin dumpster.
It'd be a virgin dumpster, virginal dumpster.
Only the best.
Okay.
You know how
I thought it was like, like the wives that throw themselves on the funeral pyre or whatever. I thought it was like that.
No.
You had a special dumpster that you like to fuck.
Also, everybody who visits my website, somethingawful.com, and the forums on it are going to be buried with me. So it has to be a very large dumpster.
Okay. All right. I
mean, they will protest.
For $10, they should get a pretty good dumpster.
They will probably complain.
Yes.
But it's in the EULA. It's in the EULA.
Yeah. It's at the bottom.
If you guys didn't read it,
that's your fucking fault.
It doesn't matter because I just updated it. So.
Yeah, the little box, it says, I read this and agreed to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it says.
Whatever it says, I agree to whatever it says.
Yeah, whatever he wants.
At any point in time.
Yeah, anything Rich wants, Rich gets.
Mm-hmm. Never put Rich in the corner. Nobody puts Rich in the corner.
Are we done?
We're at 33 minutes. This one's going slow.
Yeah.
Do we have to do a certain time?
No.
Okay, well, fuck it. We're done.
Yeah.